The wail of the ambulance siren cut through the evening air, a sharp and urgent sound clashing with the ordinary hum of suburban life. Flashing red and white lights streaked across the scene, bouncing off the rain-slicked pavement of Oakwood Lane. Paramedics, their faces tight with worry, wrestled a stretcher toward the vehicle's open rear doors. Every second was critical. Inside, a man gripped his chest, his breath shallow and ragged. But the gravity of this medical crisis was about to be overshadowed by something far stranger, far more reckless. This wasn't just about saving a life. It was about to spiral into a tale of desperation, bad decisions, and a crime spree stretching across multiple states. Our protagonist, Emily, wasn't thinking about any of that. Her world had collapsed into the suffocating weight of her immediate reality. Creditors were hounding her, debts were piling up, and the threat of losing everything she'd built loomed large. For weeks, she'd been scrambling, trying to outrun the INEVUI table. Now cornered and frantic, she spotted a wild, poorly thought-out chance, but a chance nonetheless. The ambulance, parked crookedly at the curb with its engine rumbling, seemed like a lifeline. It was ridiculous, she knew, even as the idea took shape in her mind. But reason had deserted her long ago. Panic was the only voice left. She'd been at a friend's apartment nearby, begging for a loan, a futile effort as it turned out. Leaving the building defeated. Tears stinging her eyes, she saw the commotion. The paramedics, fully focused on their patient, didn't notice her. The keys, she realized with a jolt of adrenaline, were still in the ignition. The thought took hold fast. It was a getaway, a shot at disappearing, at buying time. She could dump the ambulance a few towns over, she told herself, and vanish before anyone knew what happened. Of course, the truth was messy. She wasn't just stealing a vehicle, she was hijacking a lifeline. Unknown to her, the man inside was on the brink of a massive heart attack. Every minute without care, a roll of the dice with his life. In her blind panic, Emily was about to raise the stakes beyond anything she could have imagined. This wasn't just theft, it was kidnapping, reckless endangerment, and a chain of charges waiting to unravel across 3 states. Her desperate grab for freedom was about to become a nightmare. Time slowed as Emily made her choice. The rain, once a mere annoyance, now blurred everything, softening the edges of reality. The steady beep of medical equipment, normally a reassuring sign of life, became a ticking clock. She moved with a surge of pure adrenaline, shoving aside any last hesitation. One moment, she was a broken figure on the sidewalk. The next, she was pulling open the driver's door. The cab smelled of antiseptic and something faintly metallic, the scent of emergencies. The keys were there, just as her panic had promised. She slid into the seat, her hands sweaty against the steering wheel. The paramedics, startled, turned as one, their faces shifting from concern to disbelief, then horror. One of them, a stocky man with a graying beard, lunged forward, yelling something lost beneath the roar of her pulse. It was now or never. Emily threw the gear into drive and floored it. The ambulance jolted forward, tires screeching on the wet asphalt. The sudden motion knocked the paramedics off balance. The bearded man stumbled, barely dodging the swinging door. In the back, she heard muffled sound, the patient's groan, the frantic voice of the remaining paramedic. She tried to tune it out, focusing only on the road, on the fleeting hope of escape. The ambulance swerved down Oakwood Lane, unsteady as Emily fought to control it. She wasn't used to driving something so big, and its weight unnerved her, but she pushed on, driven by the need to flee. The paramedics' shouts faded, drowned out by the siren she hadn't thought to silence, a blaring signal of her crime to the whole neighborhood. But she didn't care. All that mattered was distance from the life she was fleeing. Each second stretched endlessly, a haze of streetlights and rain-streaked glass. Her knuckles whitened on the wheel, her eyes locked ahead. She ran on instinct, adrenaline, and the naive belief she could outrun her choices. But those choices, like the siren, were catching up. She'd stolen an ambulancia, symbol of help, and sealed her fate. The patient, James, a retired teacher, didn't know his driver had changed. His world was pain, his breath short and jagged. A gentle man who'd spent his life teaching kids, he planned a quiet night with tea and a book. Instead, he was fighting to survive, his heart faltering. The paramedic in the back, Lisa, clung to the stretcher, stabilizing him. She'd started in 4 and given meds, but her options were limited. She needed a hospital fast. The ambulance's lurch nearly threw her off her feet. What was that? She yelled over the siren. James groaned, barely conscious. Lisa tried the radio. Driver, what's happening? We need the hospital. No answer. She tried again, panic rising. Silence. Then a shaky, unfamiliar voice. Stay back there and don't make trouble. Lisa froze. Something was wrong, terribly wrong. She looked at James, pale and sweating. You don't get it, she pleaded. He needs help now or he'll die. Emily didn't reply, too focused on the road and the flashing lights in her mirror, police closing in. She was trapped but couldn't see a way out. James's breaths grew weaker and Lisa knew time was slipping away. She was a prisoner in a hijacked ambulance, helpless with a dying man. The irony stung, a vehicle of hope turned into one of despair. Emily gripped the wheel tighter as adrenaline faded into cold fear. The police lights grew brighter. Her quick getaway was a fantasy. She took a sharp turn, hoping to lose them in the suburban maze. The ambulance rocked and James groaned again, piercing her conscience. Please, Lisa cried. Every turn's killing him. He needs a hospital. Emily ignored her, swerving onto a highway ramp. The ambulance shuddered as it sped up, wind howling through the windows, drowning out the pleas. She was running north, away from her life, toward an unknown future defined by this reckless act. The fuel gauge dipped near empty. She hadn't even considered gas. Her plan was crumbling. Police were closing in, James was fading, and Emily was waking up to her colossal mistake. She'd imagined ditching the ambulance and vanishing, but reality was unforgiving. The siren, once a comfort clearing her path, now mocked her. She told herself it was helping James, a lie she couldn't sustain. Her mind raced at creditors' angry faces, the EVY tie-in notice, her failing business. All seemed to justify this madness. But the further she drove, the more surreal it became. She was in an ambulance with a dying man, chased by police, clinging to a delusion of escape. The pursuit escalated, more cars, a helicopter spotlight tracking her. It wasn't just local anymore, it was a regional crisis. Crossing into Pennsylvania, then Maryland, she faced roadblocks and spike strips, swerving wildly. Lisa screamed as James convulsed, her CPR desperate. Emily's guilt flared, but she pushed it down, focused on survival. At a T intersection in Maryland, time warped. Left meant more chaos, right meant surrender and a hospital. James's choking coughs and Lisa's frantic, he's crashing, shattered Emily's haze. She couldn't ignore it anymore. With a wrench of the wheel, she turned right, racing toward St. Joseph's Hospital. She wasn't escaping now, she was escaping James. Police swarmed as she screeched to a halt at the hospital. She surrendered, hands up, as paramedics rushed James inside. Lisa, exhausted, glared at Emily. He's alive, barely. In custody, Emily felt relief and ruin. She'd saved him, but destroyed herself. James survived, forgiving her in time, while Emily faced years in prison, a harsh but redemptive end to her desperate flight. Her story, a warning of desperation's cost, rippled outward, prompting reflection on choice, consequence, and the hope of second chances.